we are going to launch Ethereum tonight. And Ethereum, the launch is going to start taking aim at challenging Visa and MasterCard. Now, let me explain what that means. Taking aim at Visa and MasterCard, the complaint has always been that the public blockchains like Bitcoin can't hold a candle to the number of transactions that Visa and MasterCard can do. Well, that is about to change, and it's going to change in a significant way. What's happening is the merge eventually will allow Ethereum to go for at least 200,000 transactions in a second. So 200,000 transactions per second is going to allow them to actually do more transactions than the Visa network and the MasterCard network both. Not combined, but either one. It's going to put competition into the mix. So you're going to be able to see a direct competitor to those big credit card companies. So let's take a look at it. What's happening right now is that the Ethereum merge is in a countdown. It right now is estimated to happen at block 15,537,351. That block, based on how long it's taking to close blocks, is going to happen tonight at 1:16 a.m. But why is this important? Why is this actually significant in the idea of blockchains, and especially public blockchains? And so what I want to do is go ahead and pull up some articles that I've put together. And this one is on the merge. Now, it's the most significant upgrade of Ethereum in its entire history. It is where Vitalik Buterin wanted to be at the very beginning when he started the Ethereum network. Now, the point here is that they started with proof of work because they needed to have a hardened network in order to keep out, hackers. So what's going to happen is you see the graphic there on the screen that proof of work is continuing, but back in 2020, in order to start this whole thing, they started what they called the beacon chain, and it has been running parallel, processing the same transactions as the Ethereum network. So it has been running since 2020 and has been tested over and over and over again during the last nearly 2.5 years. So the beacon chain now is going to merge with what they call the main net. And the Ethereum main net is what has had all of the transactions prior to now. So the whole point of the merge is to merge the beacon chain and the main net together. And what will end up happening out of that merge is the beacon chain will take over as the way that consensus is done for the entire Ethereum network. Now, the effect of this immediately is not going to really show itself. The effect of this right now doesn't really speed up the network. It's just a different consensus method. It, unfortunately, immediately is not going to lower the cost. In other words, the amount of gas that it takes in order to close a particular transaction isn't going to be affected right away. But coming right on its heels is what they call sharding. Now, sharding is something that I was not very familiar with. But what I'd like to do is put Robert on the spot here for a moment. He's got his microphone right next there. And he'll explain what sharding is or was in the aspect of a particular game that he saw it implemented in. So Robert, can you share with us a little bit about that?
No, sharding is a technology that's been around for at least a decade in other contexts. It's used a lot in large video games, especially ones that need to keep an online presence, MMOs in general. But the idea of being able to have multiple instances of the same world that are allowed to split and merge at various times, I would imagine it would be allowing Ethereum to handle a significantly higher volume of transactions through shards of the blockchain that would later be merged in.
Okay. So what happens when the sharding is introduced is that's when the capacity of the network increases dramatically. Now, the whole reason for the amount of gas that it costs per transaction is the amount of capacity on the network. So by reference, by inference, you can then think of an increase of capacity as then a decrease in the amount of cost that it takes to get a transaction through the network. So basically what's going to happen is as the capacity increases and the number of transactions can be pushed through the network, the increased number of transactions is going to lower cost because the consensus method allows it to go faster and the sharding allows it to go faster as well. And the number of transactions increasing, basically supply is increased, therefore demand decreases, and a supply and demand curve just automatically drives the price down. So generally what we're talking about here is the ability for Ethereum to start competing with Visa and MasterCard. The second big thing is the reason it can compete is because of increased capacity and lowering of costs to run the data through. Now, understand, Visa and MasterCard charge almost an arm and a leg for all their transactions. So if you have microtransactions through Visa or MasterCard, it can cost you half the amount of the transaction for a vendor to run the cost through, because usually there's a per transaction fee and there's a percentage fee. So you'll pay 1 to 1.5% for each transaction plus 25 cents. Well, if you've got only $1 transaction, like you've got a little kid here that's decided to buy a little something with the money that they've earned from whatever around the house, they, cost the company essentially more than their profit that they make off the item in order to do that transaction. Basically, that's what's happening with the merge. It's an exciting time. Oh, I can't express how excited I am to see this happen. I did put some Ethereum into the beacon chain in ETH2 so that they could help perpetuate their chain. And so that chain has been operating for a while on staked coin from about January or February, somewhere in there. And so when it merges, it'll be there and it'll be available. It'll pay people to stake their coin. Right now it's paying 3.25% to stake your coin, and you get paid back in Ethereum 2 coin. Eventually Ethereum 2, the moniker 2 will go away. It'll just be Ethereum. There's not another coin being created out of this merge. It's just going to all be Ethereum eventually. Right now they're differentiated until the merge is complete, but after that it'll just be Ethereum. So that's the skinny on what's happening with Ethereum tonight.